You are watching The Horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman, exclusively on ABC Amba TV.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to The Horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman. Today is March 7th, and tomorrow is March 8th, International Women's Day. Today we want to talk about International Women's Day, and we also want to talk about the evolution of the leadership of the Southern Cameroons' quest for international recognition. And on the show today, we have our permanent guest, Winnie Lobati, to address these two important topics. Let me first begin by appreciating all of you watching from the diaspora, most importantly, those of you watching from the home front and from neighboring La République du Cameroon. We appreciate you, and we usually say we are here because you are there. Once again, welcome to The Horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman. Winnie, it's always a pleasure having you on this program. You come with a lot of information, and as one of the mothers in the house, this topic today is so important for you to address. But before we get into that, take a moment to say hello to those who are listening to us today.
Fellow Amazonians, fellow viewers from all over the world, be it back at home front, in the diaspora, or whatever corner of the globe you may be watching us this day, I want to thank you for giving us some of your time to view what we will be discussing today, and listening, gleaning, and paying attention, and also educating yourself and becoming an advocate, empowering yourself and using that knowledge to make a change in your world. So we want to thank you for doing all that, and we are grateful that you are with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Winnie. Let's go straight into the program, talking about International Women's Day, IWD. What is International Women's Day, Winnie, and when was it initially celebrated in the world?
Interestingly, International Women's Day was started in 1911 in Europe, to be precise, and it was celebrated on March the 19th in 1911 in Austria, Denmark, Germany, and Switzerland. So you can really see that strong Saxon nations or Dutch linked nations. They were the ones. But why was that day really created? It was to advocate for women's rights to work, to vote, and to hold public office. Can you imagine? We are still, even though it's almost more than 100 years old, we're still advocating for those rights, still trying to get sure that women come up to a level that is commensurate to our brothers, our fathers, and our grandparents, so that we are not left behind.
That's interesting. That's interesting. It's a great thing that some people realize that women are a significant part of the community, to make sure that such a day exists. And talking about International Women's Day, how is it generally celebrated in the diaspora? Before we talk about Southern Cameroons.
I think there's a lot of different activities that showcase women. Let's just take 2025. The theme for 2025 for the International Day Women's Day is accelerate action. Accelerate action. If you just take that's the slogan. If you just take
Mm-hmm.
that word, so what kind of action do we want to accelerate? We want to accelerate the actions of women, their achievements, and we want to promote gender equality. Sounds like the first day that it was done. And we want to raise awareness of women and empower women's empowerment. So the theme of the first International Women's Day has really not changed much. We may use different
Mm-hmm.
slogans, we may use different things, but the purpose and the goal and the mission why that day was created is still relevant, still powerful. Can you imagine 100 years ago, the women that were doing this, if they come to find out that their great granddaughters are still fighting for what they stood up for over 100 years ago, 100 and maybe almost 14 years ago, they're still fighting for the same thing. We've made some strides, but we are not yet
Mm-hmm.
there. We have not yet come to the place of feeling that it is now the women have come to this far and it's welcome. So we thank those great grandmothers in the back, those women on whose shoulders we today stand. Can you imagine women could not walk? Can you imagine they could, even if they went to school, there were some professional schools, women could not, even if they went there, they could not practice that profession. A good example
Mm-hmm.
would be being a physician or a doctor. You could graduate, you
Mm-hmm.
could be the first of your class, but you were not allowed to practice. Can you imagine a lot of those things?
Yeah.
But today, we've made some strides, we've made some gains, but there's still a lot of ground to cover.
Yes, I like that theme. Accelerate action. Accelerate action uh, in efforts to promote gender equality. It's a long way. It's something that probably has to be done year in, year out because it takes, uh, we don't know exactly when men will see women as equals. It's a long way to go. But for the Southern Cameroons, accelerate action. When we think about accelerate action, we are thinking about accelerate action to free Southern Cameroons, if we want to continue with that slogan. What do you think about that, Mawini? Accelerate action as far as Southern Cameroons is concerned. How will you put that together?
It's really important that our mothers, I always remember the Amba Mama. So like
Mm-hmm.
Mama Amba, those women.
Yes,
That was an
yes.
accelerate action by mothers, um, in defiance of their children picked up, locked up in Kondengi or wherever, or said for simple things because one gendarme had a disagreement over a girlfriend or a woman that he wanted. Unfortunately, this gendarme came from Bia's area and he felt that he was entitled to have any woman or all the women. Let me use that for an exaggeration, but not really that, but a particular woman. And because that happened and there was that fight over that probably beautiful young lady, that led to many young men, the sons of these mamas, being picked up, locked up, even prior to 2016. And it went unnoticed. But these mothers have been able to take action, compose a
Mm-hmm.
song that they sing, telling their story in their dialect. And they sing now and dance about that. Why it is kind of a demonstration and defiance, protest, all in one little song that they dance. It is actually showing that women are taking action to promote that which is right and that which is just, especially in
Yeah,
Amazonia.
absolutely. So you talk about women, you talked about those mama that sang that Sela Mama Amba. But let me break this down a little bit. You know, our women in southern Cameroons, those living in La République du Cameroon, neighboring La République du Cameroon, those living in ground one, ground zero itself, or home front, I should say, and of course those living in neighboring Nigeria and other African countries because of the war. We could categorize them in a different age groups, and there's a reason why I want to do this, Winnie. You have those who
Yeah.
60 years and older, and let's first talk about the educated women. The educated women that are 60 years and older. You have those that are between 40 and 59 years old. You have those that are 20 to 39 years old. And then you have those that are less than 20 years old. Talking about educated women, because these are the women that will be out there on Saturday, March 8th, marching or having gatherings to celebrate International Women's Day. Knowing our journey, knowing what we have gone through for the past 8 years, what do you say to those, the first category, those that are 60 years and over, knowing that they understand our history the most? What specific message do you have for them as far as International Women's Day is concerned?
My patience. As a mother myself, and you being a mother, most of these women, the educated elite, those many of them are our elder sisters who were the ones that were the pace setters. They went to school. They were privileged to have the education they had in the early days. Those were the early secrets, the early Okoyom girls, the WTTC mothers, and because they were the first few elite women to become important in the elite society. Notwithstanding, they too had their challenges in asserting themselves, having positions, which we say are the things that the International Women's Day celebration really is advocating and bringing awareness to those things that women are missing or are supposed to have that equality. But they have been privy. They were able to have good jobs, many of them, and raise their kids and have grandkids now. This is one thing I would want to challenge them. Do a little research yourself. I think majority of them are still tech savvy. They have plunged into the social media, they have plunged into the technology, and they are able to Google things, search things online. I want to challenge you. Think about what what you are, what you have today, the little crumbs that you have today that La Republique may be giving you. Your children and grandchildren will not even have those crumbs.
Absolutely.
They will not have those crumbs. And if they don't have those crumbs, you owe it to them to make sure that you leave them a better Ambazonia, a better society where they can thrive and even excel more than you did, because they will be standing on your shoulders to get up and see further and aspire to become even much better than you are right now. So what can you do? Do a little research. Find out why the whole talk about Amazonia. Some of you already know. Some of you are in places that we know that it's difficult for you to truly express yourself to truly express where you stand with regards to the Amazonian struggle and the struggle of the Amazonian woman in general. So we want to say there are many ways you can still be involved when you do this research and you are passionate to leave a better world. Let me start world, better nation, Amazonia, for your grandchildren and great grandchildren. So, what am I saying? Don't let your education and the little perks that you have deceive you to think that it will continue in 2, 3 generations down the line. Let me give you let me just remind you, it's not about these are not about women, but about guys. We had Nanga Company, we had Kilo Company, we had Chair Company, we had so many companies. How many of those companies that used to thrive in the then West Cameroon or Southern Cameroons, how many of them are still in place? How many of the children of these renowned names that you all know them? You went to school with some of their children. How many of them can you see them building enterprises or companies that the family, the legacy has stayed? Let me just remind you, whatever you have today, even if you sing the Hallelujah of La République and you gain something from them, in a few years down the line when you are gone, that too will be gone. Even if you're lucky to have a child put in some position, it will not be all your children and grandchildren or great grandchildren benefiting from the society. So, what I want to really advise is think about the legacy you are leaving behind for your children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren, and think about a free Amazonia that will give them the opportunities for them to thrive.
Wow, you have really said a lot, Winnie, in this short period, targeting those ladies, those mothers, grandmothers above 60, and it is exactly what it is, because they have lived in the best of what Southern Cameroons used to be. They know exactly where we came from. They can compare and contrast what was then and what is now. Now, to the next set of women that are educated. And I'm also going to come back and talk about our mothers that are in the rural areas that may not have gone to school, that also a message for them, because some of them are pulled along by La République and they are forced to march or celebrate things that they really have no business celebrating. But let's talk about those who are between 40 and 59 or 60 years old. And this will include people that have experienced, still, some of them experience a little bit of Ahijo, maybe, and then, but mostly Paul Biya as president. They would have probably experienced the 1990s, when there was so much changes in the country with some of our forefathers like Gojin Dika trying to make changes and fighting for Southern Cameroons. And some of them are in big ministries now. They are directors, they are ministers at this moment, working for the government and embracing the current situation with La République du Cameroon, knowing exactly that it is not the best for their people. What message do you have for this set of women?
This set of women are at the prime of their either profession or career life. They are at the prime. after 60, most of them have retired. They are at the prime. And most of them are not, why they may be, because the way La République has set itself up, most of the rich people are those that work in government, not the business people. So
Right.
they have killed the private sector and allowed thievery to happen in the public sector. So most of them who are in this age group of 40 to about 60, those in 60 would have experienced a little bit of Haijo and the transition from Haijo to Paul Biya as president of La République du Cameroon, but had no idea how our West Cameroon uh, government worked or was even in existence, because our history was literally completely covered, buried. They thought, so that we would never know who we are. And then when the time comes, they would just say, "Yeah, we are what they think we are, or what they say we are, and not who we really are." I want to take time to say, majority of you are also entrepreneurs. You work and you also do business at the site, and you strive and you push thanks to all the electronic and technology that has made it possible. Some of you are able to fly abroad, go to Europe, go to Dubai, go to America, go to Australia, go to South Africa, travel to other African countries and be able to do business as well as work, or do just business. There is something that while you do this, can you just think for a moment? Let me take those that are educated. You may even not be very educated, but you have a business. Your business is constantly being taxed. There is no true regulation as to what income you made, it has to be taxed. Every year, it's either they come and bribery is given so that they wink the tax, or they underpay the tax, or they slap you an astronomical number that doesn't reflect the level of your business, and so you start pleading and begging, and then you're forced to what they say, you just had to chop, go the chop or play with the tie, all those dishonesty that happens in La Republic government. So so you still struggle, even though you may be good, you may have it good now, but you still struggle. There are some things that you should not be going through. Like I said to the grandmas who are maybe retired or about to retire, think about your children. Think about your children. Many of you will soon be having grandkids if you've not already had them.
Right.
And many of you would have loved to send your kids to go study abroad, like we say, and encourage your kids to do business like you or study. But there's a lot of difficulties that you and hurdles that you experience yourself that makes it difficult for your children to be able to overcome or even get to a place where they can be like you. Many of your children will not be able to attain what you have attained.
That's right.
When a generation, the generation when the generation prior is richer than the generation that is now, then you know there's a problem, because there should be growth and there should be economic empowerment that moves from one generation to the other. But if the generation behind seems to have been the richest generation, then I'm talking in economics, in the economic sense. Then there is a disconnect in that society, a disconnect in how the society operates, and a disconnect how governance is happening in that society. All things being equal, that there is no war, that there is no natural disasters that would have impacted the community, that made it difficult. Because if the things are put well, even if you have a natural disaster, the people will be resilient enough to bounce back because they have the tools and the skill set to move on and then overcome what obstacle is before them. But when the obstacle that you have is the government, and forever remains the government, it will become difficult. And if the obstacle you have is the lack of freedom of true expression, let me be frank, there is no true freedom of expression in Ambazonia under with La République de Cameroon occupying the nation. Neither is it even in La République. Don't mind what people you see say on TV, what they talk. They talk, but they cannot act. You want to show me that there is freedom? Let me see how many people can go out, carry placards, and say, hey, there is war in Ambazonia. Government, get your troops out. Then I will know that freedom of expression, I mark my word, freedom of expression has come to Ambazonia. So let us not forget this. Let us not forget what we are losing, what our children are going through, are standing or are suffering. Granted, I can say there is some level of some growth. Some of you are able to build houses now that our grandmothers could not, except they did it together with the grandfathers, and did that. But to be honest, it still leaves a sour taste in your mouth, because you know that there is a lot of restriction unless you kiss the ring of La République CPDM government, or stay in a perpetual statehood of bribery, corruption, and just kissing them and making them feel good that you are part of them so that you can get ahead. So think about your children and grandchildren.
Think about your children. Think about your children. Talking about thinking about your children, let's address the age group that is 20 to 39. These are probably some women that just finished university, or they're still in university. I'm talking about the educated ones. These are some women that still have young children that were born during the time of war. Remember, we've had this war since 2016, so it's almost 80 years counting. So these are women that have really experienced the pain, in the sense that they couldn't really appreciate what the future holds for them. And then think about the women in any of these categories that have lost family members, husbands, sons, brothers, even daughters, women that have been raped by La République du Cameroon's military, or the fake Amber boys that have been put upon our towns and villages by Tanganji and his collaborators, the kidnapping that is really orchestrated by La République du Cameroon using proxies like Cho Ayaba. When you put all these ills together, Mawini, I'll let you just even expound on it. What is the essence of really celebrating International Women's Day? Go ahead, Mawini.
I may even want to split this age category into two groups. We're
Okay.
talking about the 20s to 39.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just take it in the middle somewhere there and say the 20s to 30s and the 30s to the 39. The
Mm-hmm.
30s to the 39, most of you were probably in the university or in some professional school when this war was ongoing, or you had just graduated and you had no jobs. Majority of you had no jobs. You went to your parents' sold land. They got you all the money they could try to get you to go through university. Some of them sold land to go bribe so that you could enter some professional schools. And still you came out. For a few of you, you may have landed a job. Many of you, you didn't. I would say take a look at majority of your brothers, your Okada riders, your taxi drivers. Take a look at what many of those your brothers who are hustling. Do you know that majority of them do have university degrees?
Mm-hmm.
Pause and think for a moment. They are your brothers, they are your husbands, they are some of them are even your relatives. And because of the fact that the public sector had been destroyed, and the private sector had been destroyed, and all people relied on predominantly was the public sector, and they, as they call them Anglophones, we are Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians, they were not privy to as much as what was given to a little clique of people that are either of the Betty Bulu tribe or those who have come a little bit closer and are kissing whatever they need to kiss to get what they need to get. But think about majority of your husbands, your brothers, and even some of them your fathers, what they have had. They hustle, they try businesses. And even with those businesses, and you yourselves, you don't know any other person but Mr. Paul Biya as president. There was a day there was
Yeah.
Haijo, and there was a day that even in what we are saying, Haijo used to have what they call 5-year development plan. At least I grew up
Exactly.
hearing that 5-year development plan. There used to be a day there was scholarship. The Francophones had their own, and the Anglophones at least had our own little that people took
Yes.
and went to Britain, they went to America, they went to Canada, and they went to Germany, they went to other places. At least there was some money given a little bit early on in the day. And then when Bia came, then by 1982 or 80 what, we started hearing Chris economy. Chris economy. That was when they started tightening up those things and to cut them off. But I want to talk to this other group, the 20s to about 30 or 29. You have seen war. You are
Mm-hmm.
growing on the war. Mind you, I
Yes.
know most of you are internally displaced, not by choice, some by economic difficulties, some by bullet difficulties that has made you guys relocated. And not only have you relocated into La Republique, the oppressor, but you are worse off because sometimes what I hear, some of the things that happen, especially at the beginning of the war, we had a lot of Amazonian kids because of the insecurity. Schools were not going on. So many of the kids were pushed or were displaced into La Republique. And they would go around begging to clean people's homes to get something to eat. Again, thanks for the good home training that we trained our children that you don't just eat for nothing. You have to work. So they were going around, whether it's in Douala or in Yaoundé or in Bafoussam, or some of them even went as far back to Kribi and even the Samalima where beer is, to go work in plantations and farms in there so they can have something to eat. And these are children that should have been in school, young adults that should have been in school studying, but war declared on them illegally by international laws and for the purpose of genocide, for the purpose of wiping out a group, for the purpose of displacing you so that they can move in and occupy that territory. But you don't know anything. Some of you were barely maybe 20 years old or 16 years old. You were teenagers, young adults, and now all you know is bullet flying, noise, seeing instability. When we were growing up, we heard about the maquisards, which was I, looking back, what those maquisards are they called. It was also within the construct of La République du Cameroun, those who were fighting for genuine independence of La République by getting France off their back so that they could have political, economic, and whatever, and let me say cultural freedom. When I mean culture, I put education in it and so many other things. They wanted that true freedom and not be micromanaged or remote control. And that's where you had a lot of the Bassas, the Bamilekes, and they were called Maquisards because they were in the party called UPC. A majority of them fled into southern Cameroons. And when we were going up and growing and going to school, we had many of them that went to school with us. And you can remember, I don't want to call names here because that will jeopardize some people's security or their lives, or it may make them, because if you by names you can know where people come from. So we could tell those who came from those regions that were La République du Cameroun and resettled amongst us because they were fleeing from the war and the persecution that France and La République du Cameroun were carrying out against the real patriotic La République du Cameroun citizens. And of course, there was a book written, and there was a time, even President Macron, there was a time early on when he was campaigning, he stood to apologize for that. He was quickly shut down and asked not to. You remember that, my patients?
I do.
As soon as, because the fear of knowing that the acknowledgement by some
Yes.
government entity, the impact and repercussion that it will carry on the nation of France, because it would have been something open, something that they have agreed and accepted their guilt. So they quickly had to shut him down.
Winnie, and that's when we knew that Macron was never going to be an ally, because right then we when he came on as a young person, we thought that this is somebody that can be good for Southern Cameroons and Amazonia. Right after that, when he backed down, we realized that no, he backtracked and back down. We realized that he wasn't going to help Amazonia, Southern Cameroons.
Yeah.
Moving on, Winnie. So we've talked about mostly women that are educated, but there are lots of women that are smart women. They didn't go to school, have a formal education like the ones we've already described. They do petty trading to take care of their families. They live in the villages and some towns, and a lot of them have been displaced also from their homes, because remember when La Republic started this war, the number of villages that were burned down, and these women and their parents lived in those homes and have no access to their homes. They are displaced. So that's why we have a lot of IDPs. They get called by the so-called elite women to come gather and celebrate things like International Women's Day. This one, I don't know whether you want to speak in Pidgin English, because they listen to this program, Winnie. Or the message will be passed along. What special message do you have for them? And most of these women also have lost their children. They've lost their sons and grandsons and daughters. They have children that are not able to further their education because of the insecurity of war. What are you telling them about this coming Saturday in terms of what they should be doing, rather than gathering to celebrate a day that has no importance or significance for them?
You know, now that now that we're going to talk about the women that we consider them not very educated, I'll say something. My grandmother passed on a few years back. There was a friend of hers who was also a relative of ours, and they used to call her Grandmama Justice, because she was that wise woman that when people had disagreements, um, um, disputes, they would come to her. She would listen to both parties and be able to use her wisdom to settle the matter. And when she settled it, both parties were happy and agreed to it. So they called her, I don't want to use the name and say it in the dialect, but it was like Grandmama Justice. So that was a nickname that because she earned it. And these are the groups, my grandmothers, some of them still live, and my mothers, some of them are alive. Mami, ma talk for una now for do own kind talk. Some of una not be go school, not be because una not be get sense. Una not be go school not because say for the time when una be the grow, plenty for una they be say woman not get for go school. Even though una be get sense. Sometimes say you be get sense so they pass your own small brother or big brother. But the just say, oh, when woman get for do not say when you don't reach for that time, when you don't ripe, you know what I mean. When you don't start seeing your time, then it means say time don't reach for you to go marry, then they take you send them for married house. We want talk for una. Plenty the war where they don't put her on top una. Now una they suffer the most. Now una they carry the big trouble. Because una don't una be already set una. No say una don't dey una for place where whether your man be don't die, because majority of una live longer than una husband or una or with grandpapa them, una be with grandmammy them or not grandmammy them. Whether una be young or una be old, but una dey sometimes una go una farm, or sometimes you dey stay with your pikin and a woman, and then you go farm, you dey house, because maybe old age sickness don't come. Now it don't make it very difficult and it hard for you for do anything what you feel really do it now. You 1 year Sunday they say, hey, dear grandpikin don't die, or dear pikin don't die. We La Republic they don't shoot her. Or yeah, your grandpikin go for market or you go for some place, your granddaughter, you 1 year they say, hey, La Republic army don't catch that one raper. You start to cry. Or una not even go farm una the fear. You know if you send pikin say, hey, run go for that farm for they go broke some corn, bring up. Like what una be used to do. Just say, hey, take this basket, go move 2, 3, 4 last for cocoa for ground, bring a more cooker or yam, bring a more cooker. You know if you do them anymore. because you don't know where that pikin go meet up on the road. So now you just all una they say, now only God go fix with the country. Now only God. Thank una when they make that prayer. Say make God fix with the country. But one thing I want to when I know that other BB sister them way they don't go shoot them for BB cheer them. The La Republic give them BB money. They can come now and say they can't give one a chop. Some they go come say they bring rice. Some they go come say that one can give one a maggi and small oil and salt and soap because say when I live for village. Ah, since when they be start giving a this? Nobody only remember now una na because they don't put war on top una. Then La Republic they find way for talk say may he catch una for sure say everything they fine. So country they fine. They will bring una small rice now. Bring una they say una come. Hey na international women's day oh. More go match. The one will match will divide una rice, give una soap, give una this, give una sardine, give una bread. I give una one bottle, whether they call a trantra or na wait Amstel or na wait you. They give una some una drink, una two, una some una go. I beg una. Everything for do. Because when La Republique du Cameroon, poor BI government, you don't see and say think that water pass Gary. You know what they do? They start take that sister the way and mommy the way they did for that BB country, then some them na Yaoundé, some them na Douala, some them they for government. They start catch them. Say when I take this small money, go meet up that woman, then bring her. When I make them call CRTV, call that television people them. Whether na Equinox or na who them. Say me then come on a Chanel door, na wait me then come take picture for sure. Say hey country they fine. Now all the small boys in every that corner they make noise. They disturb. One not let them fool una. Because now when a boy picking and they kill him. When I know how many boys they don't kill him. Now when a boy picking and like the mama Amba them, they there for kondengi. They're not there for kondengi, only kondengi or for Douala, for New Bell. Then nobody only plays out they did. They don't scatter them all over prison them for all over La Republic. To go reach for north. Some they will not just say they don't die. Where maybe they did for prison for no man not there for give them chop. When I know how they do their own prison for La Republic. Now you to go feed your own person. Is sick. Now you to go give chop. How will be there for one side for West Cameroon? No. If government don't lock you, then government get for take care of you. If you sick, now government get for take care. If you're the hungry, a government get for feed you. But now they don't change things. So wait till I will talk and say, may una no go match. More una shidon una for una house. May that people where they come with their rice, with their soap, with their thing. May they stand, take their picture, show their back rising. But may that feel where they want go match. May stand out empty. If una they hungry, I know say some of una go wrong go say, we not get no shop for house, more go take something. Because war don't be for una for long time. But I want more una remember. All the una picking them, even though be your own picking with the killer, now your neighbor is picking. Sometimes na your sister is picking. Sometimes na your cousin is picking. That picking they no come back. Sometimes that picking be there alive, and that picking will come wash your food, give you something. No think I'm well. International Women's Day. Not be La Republic creator more than know so. We need to condemn that day. We want tell una say the reason for that day be good. Say me they make and say me they know say woman them. They get for get the same opportunity for work, for be for good position inside government, for be able for do business fine. Without men no man not give them trouble. But because we country no dey safe, one beg una say, una take and may dey for una like so other country Sunday. Una should don for house. Una cry, una picking them. Una should don for house. Mona stay for house. The picking the owner get away the day for una go corner house. Una hold and so. Una hold them tight. Una pray. Una thank God say the one the day. Because you don't know the one way tomorrow. You know go day. The one pass for corner day. When I remember some picky where they call them baby matter. That picking we just sleep for bed. When I remember some other picking where one go school, 3-year-old,
They
they shoot
calculate
and a grandma.
Randy.
Yes, oh boy, it move all close so for skin, cry for public road. When I remember the one to where they be doing for Bamenda, one and from Gwen, where they shoot that picking them. That picking them not be doing anything. Why? La Republic be careful shoot that. When I remember Mommy Happy, where they be born in for house. When I remember that papa where they be taking picking try for inside, fry them for inside oil. Papa one come, it move picking don't die, it cry. When I remember. Now we women then now we sabi how we born the hot. More than remember so. Now we sabi how we born the hot. So not forget say you're picking the important. I beg. Una hoe una picking them, una shit on for house. Una kidney for ground. Una pray for Papa God say. Move the trouble. Move the baboon way don't can hang for we back and no one come out. Move up, give we freedom, more breathe so that we fit do and fix our country fine. And we'll begin the fit grow. They for good place. I beg una. Una shit on for house.
Wow, Ma Winnie, I cannot top that. You don't give so much excellent advice to our mothers, our sisters, our aunts, our daughters. So much good advice. We just hope that they will listen to us. May they remember all the massacres, the way they don't take place all over our territory. There's so many, just last month, February 14th, was the 5th anniversary of the Gabu massacre. February 14th. All the one way they kill up for Kumba for that school. For Batibo, Guzang, Pinyin, all over. Mamfe, so many Boya. May they remember all those graves where they don't bury we picking the day, bury them plenty inside. May they remember all those torture where they don't torture with girl picking them for school. They make them made they work inside mud, like millipede work inside mud. May they remember all those terrible things that they don't do for people them. And even those where they get opportunities, the way that they live for the Republic, when their husband don't die. My Winnie, say there are some women there whose husbands have gone, and they depend on widows, what do you call it? They give them some
Pension.
small money. Widows pension, they give them some small money. They expect me that mommy they go bribe, may they give them money before they get their money. So some of those mothers they don't get their money for bribe, so their money just lost for inside system. We get plenty mommy the way their land them don't be confiscated. They don't can tip their land, because they don't get power for talk. They don't tip their land, to get for foreigners them. So many of them. So these are all some examples for telling us say there is no reason to celebrate International Women's Day. One day, when we don't get our own land, when we don't be a free people with complete control over our land, then we'll go celebrate International Women's Day, because Ambazonia that time go live by some certain slogans them, some certain sayings them, like say, when you empower woman, you don't empower humanity. You don't make human being the strong when you empower woman. When you empower woman body, so your body, now your rights, that kind of saying. Say equal right, no means na equal, na special right. Everybody get equal rights. So no give me right because I be woman. So I be special. We get for all get equal right. We human beings them, you know. When you give power for woman, you empower woman. You don't empower the whole world because now woman is start that family. Now you do raise picking them. So we did pray, say sooner or later we'll get our own land. We will just say yes, all mommy, all woman them, with men then supporting us, we will celebrate International Women's Day. But not now. Not now at all. So Winnie, I don't know whether you want your closing comment for this topic, then we'll move to the next topic. So we'll go end program small time.
My mommy them, my sister them, my grandmammy them, my small sister them too, my pikin them, all wanna be woman. We thank God say some people them more no say as I be talk for some place say freedom of expression. It not really there for Ambazonia because c'est la République. It don't enter for the destroyer. Make am for where you know say if you talk anything now, they can catch you say you be Mama Amber. And so go show we who's that Amber boy they did. Me you go show them play where you're picking them day to me they kill them. Whether they are picking to be Amber boy or not, they are picking to get the freedom for stand for demand the rights of what we call and say self-determination. The rights for their sovereignty. Sovereignty means say they get forget their government and they control their government and they rule themselves as they decide by their democratic process where they go vote. Not be that like vote for La Republic where every year they don't put boxes and put paper, put and carry and come. They wanna come begin turn for they carry and go. I want beg when I say as I dey talk for the will country talk, all man, even the one the way they go school, they not go school, they dey hear the country talk. I want beg when I say, more when I remember, say, we dey suffer today, not be because now we want am. War dey for our country today, not be because say now we. When I say how una not fit go for farm self easily. For some places there are not so una dey go. So, but some places that they're not, majority places that they're not fit. But I want more to remember. As una dey remember, say all these, una remember some two where they call and say kidnap for ransom, where they stand for road, they catch una, they make una, play una be they pay 1,000 for transport, go una go pay 5,000, ton go round before una go. So that means they not catch una. They catch the one and say bring 10 million. Who's all now take 10 million? No, na so una land who now go sell them for can't find that 10 million me they give una that person. Una not come wrong. Una know why all that thing that they happen. And Mr. Paul B.I. government and the government people them. They put them. Some of them they call and say they say hey na Amber boy. Now people the way Paul B.I. Ponji Atanga, they pay them. Me they do that dirty work. So that more na complain. So that more na cry. So we don't want them, we don't tire the thing, we better stay for trouble. Now the reason that. So I beg una. Women's Day. Now day for sure say will be equal. As whether you be man picking or you be woman picking. Now day for sure say woman picking and man picking when they work me they pay them the same. They do the same work me they pay them the same way. Now they for sure say woman picking if he gets sense for lead people una leave him may lead. May not only be a man picking. If he gets sense for do something, una leave him may do that thing. So I advise una just should go house. Una hold una picking them. Una begin teach them this talk what they talk about importance for them for respect woman, for respect their sisters, for respect their mommy, their grandmommy. Mommy always love. And because mommy love, the boy picking they always run over their mommy. But remember, say you get small sister, you get big sister. So wait till I will talk and say, mommy them, una should run for house. Una fit enjoy that day by resting una picking them, una kidney for ground, una thank God for the blessings say give una that picking them, and pray say me move trouble for una back, and more country be free.
Amen to that. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll move to the next topic about our journey to Boya. We want to talk about the leadership structure, the evolution of the leadership structure in Southern Cameroons and Amazonia. When I say evolution, I am implying now. I want to speak. I'm confused. I'm speaking both Pidgin and English at the same time.
Okay,
Let me
let's
just go
move
back
back to English.
Yes. So we're talking about how our leadership has evolved since 2016. From 2016 and now we're in 2025, so it's a span of 8 years. Remembering that when the teachers and lawyers went on a strike in 2016 towards September and October, their goal was just to have some changes, important changes in the legal system and in the educational system. But because Paul Biya and La République Cameroon and France already knew that from a long time that we were not supposed to be listened to, that all the desire was and still is our land, there was no point giving us the little thing that we asked for. And now, where are we today? November 2016, because we rebelled. Biya decided to come upon us, wage a war upon our people. But because we are a people that want justice, we want to fight for our sovereignty, we needed a leadership structure to get us to where we need to be. And the very first leadership structure came about with the consortium. Winnie, I'm going to just ask you some. We'll have a conversation here. Things that you don't know, I can fill in, I will fill in. The reason we want to do this exercise to explore the leadership structure is so that Southern Cameroonians and Amazonians should know how we've moved over the past 7-8 years. They should remember the names of those individuals that have been important in this process. And then we have to reflect, where are these individuals now? We're going to talk about key leadership in terms of those who are heading the different names, the heading of the consortium, the SCACUV, the governing council, the interim government, the government. And then we're going to talk about individuals who had some roles in local, in county, in the then Restoration Council, in cabinet. We're going to remember some names. We may not remember all of these names, but we want to just think about all of these people, because we've lost quite a lot of people along the way. And normally you ask questions, where are these individuals? And Winnie, I'm sure you will be able to tell us the reasons why people are not here with us today, why we don't see them or hear them, know what they are doing. There are different reasons. Some may be good reasons, some may be bad reasons, but we'll explore all that. So Winnie, let's start with the consortium. Let's talk about who were those leaders in the very beginning that headed the consortium before we move to SCACUV and the next structure.
Oh, consortium. Consortium, we knew it was made up of trade unions, the teachers union, and the lawyers, however they call their advocacy union. And this big names, big shots of that time: Agbobala, Fontem Neba, and I think maybe I should leave one name out, but that was one of the members for the trade union, because he is still also somewhere, cannot make it into La République. The last I knew of him several years back. So those were the leaders. Oh, I forgot. Tarzan Wilfred
Mm-hmm.
was part of that consortium. There were many of them.
Right.
When, as a group of the consortium, under the leadership of then Prime Minister, sent to go negotiate with them, simple things. Oh, and Coffin Revolution, Mancho Bibixi.
Mancho BBC.
That was,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Uh-huh. When they couldn't have a breakthrough, not because it was impossible, but because La République du Cameroon was only pretending. What did they do? They shot, they killed people in Bamenda. Mind you, the lawyer and teacher strike did not start in that October. Prior to October, those things and those marches and those demonstrations had been happening. Oh yes, and we had this what's this lawyer's name? He's here in the US. Yes, Bobga Harmony. Yes, those are some of the leaders that were in the consortium. And when some of them were picked up, locked up, like Bobala and Fontem Neba and some others, we had a few that escaped, like Bobga Harmony, Tassam Wilfred, and some others. There was this other lawyer who is also in jail with Ayok Tabena. He was in Kumba.
Lawyer.
We'll find his name. Eyambe. I think that was
Eyambe.
the name. Eyambe. Good. We better not forget the names, because these are all history that will go into our history books and the history of Amazonia. So we better keep them well. So eventually, some of them escaped. It was only for a brief moment. So they went to in the process of their escaping, leadership of the consortium was now sent to the diaspora for safekeep while they all scoured to go into hiding, while some of them were in the jails of La République. And then we had now the Tapang
Aibo and Mark Barretta.
Yes, that's Mark Barretta. They were the young, dynamic social media people that shone, and the Amazonia people were looking forward to them coming to talk all the time. While some of the others that were in the diaspora were not of the consortium per se, but started forming mushroom groups started coming up. Then now we started hearing of the Akwanga. We started hearing of the Bo Herberts forming groups. We started hearing of the this one that's locked up in Choayaba. Yes, Choayaba. We heard about them. They came. Now everybody started coming up. It was not a bad thing. It was a good thing to show that we all were aspiring for our sovereignty. And once leadership that had ran out of danger could reconvene in Nigeria, then consortium now took back the reins from the hands of Mark Barretta and Tapang Ivo, and they were not happy. And what happened? Now we started having now there were 4 major conventions, or how you call it, that they had.
Conclaves.
Were there 4 conclaves? Yes, were there 4 or 3?
There were 4.
Right, there were 4.
The last one.
Yes. The first conclave, they came out. What did they come out with that conclave? Skakuf. consortium now became SCACUF after that conclave. And the leadership was, Patterson was the leader of this SCACUF. And the Amazonians were still rallying, we were still demonstrating, then we formed SCAPAC, and we were putting our monies in there to fight and to make sure that we could go ahead. And then they had Conclave 2. Conclave 2 came out with governing council. Am I right? Or was it Conclave 3? I have to go read those things.
It's probably Conclave 3 or 4. I don't remember the number, but governing
yes,
council.
Because Conclave 4 came out with the interim government. Conclave.
Yes.
So anyway, I think Conclave 1 and 2 was still under the auspices of SCACUF. Yes, and then Conclave 3 came out with the governing council with new leadership. Julius Ayotabe became the leader of
let
the
me have you
governing
pause
council.
there, Mawini. Let me have you pause there, because we are talking about these leaders. We are thinking about where they were then and where are they now. So let's talk about Abouabala. Abouabala is living in La République du Cameroon and advocating for federation because that's what he wants. So let's just put him to the side. Tapang Ivo and Mark Barretta, our very first, I live in Southern Cameroons, Southern California. And we had a strong community here of Southern Cameroonians for Amazonia. We had a very strong community. Our very first meeting was just to expose people to the topic, and Tapang Ivo and Mark Barretta were supposed to be the main guest. Tapang Ivo did come, and at that time I was more leading for federation because I really didn't realize exactly things had not gone as far as they had. It was still early in the days of 2016. You not had the killing and the. Let me not even go there. So, where is Tapang Ivo now? Is he speaking for Southern Cameroons? Is he? I don't want to even give these people a lot of power. The goal is to just the goal of this exercise is just to let you know that along the way, some people will be instrumental in getting us somewhere. They've left their mark in a positive way. Some are leaving their mark in a negative way, and it's up to you to judge to know this person, because Tapang Ivo was one of the people that was pushing for kidnapping. Remember, he really advocated it. He was talking very bravely, bluntly, using this word, encouraging people to be kidnapped. Whether he was working with Atanga Nji, who knows? I'm sorry, go ahead, Mawini.
Now you're talking about this. Let me put it this way. Once this thing started, because of some other things, I had come to know some things shortly before this, let me say the spillover of the coffin revolution, because it was the coffin revolution that made it tipping, where everybody now, it didn't remain with the teachers and the lawyers and the trade unions, but the coffin revolution brought everybody now, galvanized everybody, and we were all now back at home, or were in the streets. When we look at that, the people that really push for things, as soon as this started, I started reading, I started doing my own research, looking into what was happening, how we got our so-called independence, because it was to be granted. All colonies were required to be set free and granted independence. That's when I realized, because I have always said, oh, this was the history that I had. I think majority of us said, oh, we were former German colony. When Germany was defeated, we were given, this part was given to the British, this part was given to the French, and then at independence, we all came back as one Cameroon, never knew the truth of how we came about in independence, what transpired post German, and what transpired post the colonial master leaving, not really because we were a mandated territory. We were not a British colony per se. Neither was La République a French colony, but there were protectorate regions of the League of Nations, and then when the League of Nations morphed into the United Nations, then they became under the United Nations. But when I read that, I already now knew. I said, oh, that explains why in the early 1980s we went out demonstrating for our education. Now I understand, and that explains why some things happen. I immediately said, I don't cross me Mongo River. I'm not immediate. I did not even think about federation. I can remember talking to people and said, no, let's just separate. They said, oh, no, we can fix this. We can be a federal. I said, but we have federalism now. They took it away. I just was outright from the beginning. As soon as I understood what happened, bam, no, there's no place for me to decide that we will go and be friends and be federalism again. No, I just made that decision. So when we look at our some of our brothers and sisters who at one point we thought were the flag bearers, or they were the flag bearers of the struggle, we were hoping that they would carry the torch for the total separation of Ambazonia. It didn't happen. Aguabala did not. For them never claimed to still be for the struggle. I remember you and I were in a meeting. Do you remember that meeting?
Yes.
That I asked him. I said, oh, you remember? So when you are with federalists, you claim to be federalists. Oh, when you are with people who are total separation, you claim to be.
You claim to be with them. Exactly.
Yes, I don't want to use the word. I can use it. It doesn't matter. I said, so you're a chameleon. You change to what color where you are.
Yes.
And he immediately said, I don't like that. I don't like that. But it has turned out that that's how he is. His convictions, he vacillates. But I don't think he just vacillates. But I think he really is not for what we think he is. We are standing for. I don't think that's where he is. He is for something
his
else.
actions, yeah. And
Speak louder.
Let's move on now to the next.
And then we move to.
Go ahead.
So now we move to governance council. Or you want to move to SCACO? Which one do you want to learn?
You mentioned SCACO. They were still part of SAM.
Yes.
From SCACO, go to governance
it was
council.
part of SAM. You had there were other key people. You had Milana Tam. They were part of that. Professor Anyangwe. They were part of SCACO. You had Nalova B. They were part of the core of SCACO. And as well as when it morphed into the governing council, and then Ayoktabe took the reign, and then Milan came very close, and they were close buddies.
Yes.
Today, God, this is what I'll say. Until a man is thrown in jail, locked up, maybe tortured, you may not be able to know what is really in that person until they are in the place where there is some pressure that makes what is in them comes out. Then you know who really they are. Why do I say this? Even though they were picked up with the Naira 10 and were taken and locked up, they were incommunicado for a while, and then eventually we figure out where they were. Some of them, their position is still constant. You can tell that they are constant. While others, their position has changed and they try to do things for themselves, but they think they are doing it for Amazonia. So, why do I say that? Where is Julius as the leader today with the Ayambes, Pam from Gala? That was another person that was instrumental because it was leader of the NCNC,
SCS.
SCNC, yes, in Nigeria, who was already him in exile. Where are they? Where are the Professor Anyangwes today? Where are the Milan Atams today? They speak with a different language, with a different voice. I am not talking about speaking because you could have people that speak with a different voice, let me say different voice, but with the same ultimate goal that we want a safe nation that is governed by Amazonia and run by Amazonia and not have a proxy French puppet as its leader. Why am I saying this?
All right.
Because if you look, there's a difference. Some of these people are in jail, but they are fighting. They are counterproductive to the direction we are heading.
Yeah.
What they write out and what they do and how they set up things. It's counterproductive. I have not been thrown in jail and given a life sentence over my head. So I would give them the benefit of the doubt that they are looking for a way where they can escape or they can get out of jail. I don't think they will get it that way. They will only truly get out of prison when Amazonia is free. And then part of the negotiation is for all prisoners of conscience to be
Prisoners of
released.
conscience. Absolutely.
Yes, to be released. And so some of the counterproductive actions that they are doing, thinking they can release themselves individually, it's not going to work that way. It will rather take the international community and we who are fighting to help move and mobilize and even get the international community on board to get them out rather than them. You can look at it. Most of Bia's people that he locked up, or Bia and France locked up, they are released almost when they're about to die. When they're about to die. I mean, those his top ministers.
Right.
When they're about to die, then we release it for so that they can have some free. They think they can alleviate their consciences from. I don't even know if they have a conscience anymore. So why am I saying this? These leaders have been doing things that are counterproductive to the struggle of us going to where. Moving to interim government. At the helm of that, started with us and his cabinet that was taken to Yaoundé. And then we move Amazonians pivot very fast with the three people, the three men or the three women or the three-party leadership in the early days. Bob Gahamani was one of them. I've forgotten the other two of that three. Who were those three? Beside Bob.
I had a name somewhere. Hold on.
You see how quickly
when they were trying to get the well, Bob Gahamani was the head of the three-man committee. I don't know the names of the other two people.
The other two, okay. Maybe that's why Bob got stands.
That's why.
But that did not. Yes, that did not really. It wasn't pulling well. I wonder if
Well, it was really a
Professor
committee
Abiedu,
to help to get the president.
okay,
I say it
I
was a committee to help to get somebody to replace Ayub Tabi.
okay,
That was,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
And then we got President Sako was now selected
Acting president.
as the acting interim president.
Interim president. Yeah.
Yeah, because Julius was the acting president with an unknown vice president.
Right.
And so we moved from that acting interim president when Julius wanted to now rule and call and pull the strings from behind bars. The Restoration Council said no, wrote him several letters. Say, stop this. You have an acting president. When you are out, you come out, we will transition you back into your office. But as of now, you don't try to push things from there. Guess what? He decided to form another para government,
Structure.
and they made Daphne Yerima his vice
Yeremia.
president. Yes, so Daphne Yerima now became the vice president of his own para government so that he could ask. So who was the president? Means he was still president, acting in jail.
President,
And
exactly.
Daphne,
Yeah.
was was acting. So that led to that impeachment saga and that para government, and then I forgot the APLC thing in Philadelphia, where
Yes.
oh Lord have mercy, Amazonia,
Have mercy.
God save us, have mercy
Winnie,
on us.
I know you have called out some important names. I want to do this exercise. I'm going to
Where
read
is Harmony?
a lot.
Where is Bob the Harmony today? I don't hear him.
Where is exactly? That's the question. Where is he?
I don't know what
We're
he's
asking
doing.
this question because if we really believe that Southern Cameroons is supposed to be a nation by all rights based on what happened in 1961 when they bought our independence, and all the AAC 1, All Amazonia Conference 1, All Amazonia Conference 2, and all the orations, all the writings from our forefathers explaining how we were cheated from our rights to own our own country. If we remember all this, we believe in all this, why will someone who fervently believes in this at one time suddenly do not believe in it? You can withdraw because you're tired or maybe illness, but if your core is that you are Southern Cameroonian, you're an Amazonian, then you remain that forever, and you do things in the background or openly to support this government. Since we don't have much time, I'm going to read some names, Winnie, because before I get there, President Sako has been on this seat since March of 2018.
18.
I think that's when he took over. Yes, March of 2018. And he's gone, and even from the very first year that he took over, a few months, there were already people opposing him being there when they are not even giving me opportunity for him to do much. But he had already started raising funds for this government. So we realized that there were some people that already had their ulterior motives from the very beginning. But I have some names that I'm going to call. People like Dr. Munzu, he is not a Southern Cameroonian. He advocates for Federation, so I should not even call those names. When we talk
Federation.
about
He was
contempt,
in the All Anglophone Conference. He was part of the All Anglophone Conference with Professor Anyangwe, and so he went his way quickly. He quickly took off and went his
yes,
own way with La République, while Professor Anyangwe Carlson still wants to see a free
okay,
Amazonia, however they want to. We should remember that some of these people, even in the core of their being, they would really want to see Amazonia free.
that's
We
true.
should remember.
That's true.
Yeah.
But their action sometimes make people wonder exactly what they are doing. So the other names, Cometa, who was your boss, I should use the word boss, in the then Restoration Council, the chair. Where is he now? Is he doing anything for Southern Cameroons Amazonia? Where is he now? I know he had a letter out that was saying that he's leaving the struggle. But why do you leave a struggle, or you call it struggle, but you're leaving a government because he was part of Chris Ano's government? Why do you leave when you've not achieved your goal? You have people like, Uremia, you already mentioned Uremia. Tabenyang, who was supposed to be the financial, do you hear about
He
Tabenyang
was
at all?
not supposed.
Huh?
He was. He was this
Yes,
financial, the Secretary of State for Finance, who actually
yes,
managed and controlled the My Trip to Boya money that became a saga.
exactly. And what happened to all that money? Most of
Actually,
it,
there
in
was
fact, most of it went to help Ayuk Tabe jail, for their
yes,
lawyer
most of it
legal
was
fees. Yeah.
legal battles. I call it the legal battles, both in Nigeria
Yes.
and in La République.
Okay. Then you have people like Milan Atam is coming back. He created this something called Southern Cameroonians Alliance, something that I read about recently. So they are beginning to
That will
show
not be
their
remember
after
that when
Scoop.
Scoop.
Go ahead.
Remember they had Scoop?
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yes.
say they had Scoop. So Scoop probably is not fulfilling their desires, or
Yes.
has fallen apart. So he has to come up with some alliance now. And of course, alliance
Okay.
meaning that they want to ally or collaborate with other. I'm interpreting the name, not because I know that that's
Okay.
their vision.
So I'm just
Yes,
going to read
but
some names quickly.
Milan
This
kind of always
Emmanuel.
will go in the shit and come back. Emma, I don't even know what those ones are doing today.
Yeah, I know. I should look at some of these. I thank Nelson Ochiba, because some of these his handwork that I'm benefiting from, and some of the names I know. There's Ashu Lucas, Ashu Kingsley, Vera Franklin, Pascal
Franklin Vera.
with
Okay. I said some of those names I know, some of them I don't know.
Yeah, we already talked about Milan Atam. Milton Taka Milton Taka was President Sarkozy's vice.
Secretary of State
Before
for Communication. He
Milton
was, I
Taka?
think he was Secretary of State. Yes, Milton Takan was Secretary of State for Communication and then became the Vice President during the time of Spock, before he left.
Before Abongwa came in. Okay, and then there's Chris Bongam, Isaac Zama. I mean, Isaac Zama was so strong in Santa LGA. Christmas Ibini, Pauline Akonso.
Wait. Christmas Ibini and Kometa are birds of the same feathers.
Yes, they're supporting Ayuk Tabe year out.
Yes.
Raymond, what's his name? Honorable Wiba. I don't know where Honorable Wiba is now.
Honorable Wiba is an interesting person. After he left Parliament, remember, he never really supported that a government was created. and I would say he has been consistent in where he stands, not supporting a government, and has stayed him in his own isolation cocoon, as I think, wrote a book, published a book. So, but you don't see him in mainstream. But he left a mark when he said what he said in La Republic
Yes.
Parliament.
Resistance.
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
I'll
when
read on. There's
Mhm.
Accounts, oh, I already mentioned those. Harriet
Also,
Fomunki, Alice
Harriet
Blanda.
Fomiki, yeah, those two were birds of the same feather because they were in charge of Scapac. And they chose not to give a report about Scapac to who Scapac really they owe the report to. But we're going to other little people that had nothing to do with the money that was in Scapac to get reports that ease their own consciences. For example,
Right.
when they formed the ARC, they would run to groups in ARC. You know the ARC that I'm talking about, not so
Yes.
the one
Yes.
that Herbert was. So they will run. She will run and go say, "This is about Amazonian people's money." Yes, the Amazonian people who donated that money, they deserve the report, and not the ones that were not part of raising those funds.
Okay. Then there's this David Makongo.
Dr. Lee's. How about Dr. Lee's?
Oh
You talk
yes,
about
Dr.
Harriet.
Liz. Oh my goodness.
Yes, she was.
Helen
Yeah.
Agunji, Congo
Uh-huh.
Success, Nalova B, Penn
Po-
Terence,
po-
Dr. Liz Ellis is also known as Elizabeth Ambe, Thomas
yes.
Sang Martin, Sama Thomas, Shufai Blaze, Panga. These ones are all in jail right now. You know, Shufai, Pangala, 4 is in jail. Even Yannick Sikot, who is here in California with me, disappeared. Sikot Judson, Nicholas Ngu Santos, who came and was in the health department.
Oh, Nick Santos. Oh. Nick Santos sounded like, from what I know, I can just say he's like a fox in sheep clothing.
Exactly. So Foncha, Augustine Che, Awosum, Cornelius Kwang, well, you already mentioned Cornelius Kwanga. Am I saying that right? Who was this Cornelius Kwanga? Then Akwanga, Ebenezer,
Okay.
Professor Carlson, you mentioned that already. Mangang, of course, she's in jail. Jesse
Yeah.
Itambi, V Mbangui.
Wait, it's Jesse. You say Eyambe. It's Eyambe too. Is
No,
in jail now.
Itambi.
Oh, Etambi.
No, it's
Okay.
It's Mangang who's in jail.
No, I mean La Republique jail.
No, Mangang
In the
is
Naira.
here in the United States.
Yes,
United States.
Mangang is in jail in America.
Yes. Dr. Nick Nguayam.
Wow. What's her names?
Abdul Karim, who is in jail. Don Pasho, Abu Free. The names are so many.
Wow. Thanks to you, and
people. I'm not going to even read all of them. I'm just reading the ones that I recognize. Padi Asanga, you know, and then the most recent ones are now the
Chris Ano,
Chris Ano, Marianta, Dr. Abongwa. You know, those are the most recent that just left. You know, so the question we putting all these names is really there's a reason behind this madness. We've not gotten to Boya yet, right? We believe that we deserve that land. Where are these individuals? Winnie, I'll let you speak now. What is the take-home message for people that were part of the structure we've talked about the evolution. Now President Sako is here with his own cabinet, and you have You also have county chairs that I cannot explain that have disappeared, and LGA chairs of the past that have disappeared. We cannot call all those names. If they firmly believe that we have the right to that land, what is the message to them and those who support them when we've not arrived home yet?
I have two messages. The first one is, if you still believe in the core of your being that this is a just cause, and we as a people deserve our independence, our sovereignty, our statehood, then come back and join the bandwagon going to Boya. You can come through your LGAs or your county. Number two, if you are tired and you need a respite moment where you want to rest, yes, get out and rest, but don't fight those that are continuing the race to get to Boya by doing things that are counterproductive. If you are just pretending to be a chameleon, that you are what you are not, please just get out of the way and let us do what we need to do to get to Boya, and you can come there. If you need position, there will be time for election. Come form your party when we are in Boya, and you can run and convince the people of Southern Cameroon that you deserve the right to be a good leader for them, and they will vote for you. So, please, please, either you stay true to the course. Don't deceive yourself when you are not really true to the course. So I would advise, I have those, I said two, but I've given three.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Winnie. We're going to conclude now. The advice that you gave applies to those of us that are still in this government. We talk about the evolution. So right now, we had moved from an interim government to a full-blown government of Southern Cameroon with President Sako as the leaders. There were some people that sometimes argue that, oh, was it a mistake to create a government? You have these arguments every now and then coming up. I'm not sure why people would think that it's a mistake to have created a government, because we had a government all along from the days of Jua. This is just a continuation
Actually,
of Endele, Jua, and then Fonja. So we really have skipped that period of time when we were in the wilderness, where La Republique was controlling everything, and we've said no longer. We're going to go back where we were supposed to be and continue our own government. And I think it's just a smart thing. It's just common sense. If you don't have a government, how do you go against La République du Cameroun as a committee of individuals, as a council, as a group? That's what some people think, but I think they are misinformed. Winnie has given good advice that applies to the names that we've called, that applies to some of us that are still in the structure, that continue supporting this government, work hard, because the future of the generations that are going to come after depends on what we do here today. The future of our great grandchildren, all that depends on what we do today. We cannot leave this fight for them, because we will get our land eventually, but we don't want it to take too long. Winnie, I want to thank you. You've been an excellent guest as usual. I really appreciate you making the time for The Horizon, the voice of the Amber woman. And to all of you listening from all over, please support our government. For those who are living in La République du Cameroun that believe that Southern Cameroons, you can find ways of supporting the government without putting yourself at jeopardy. You can find ways to do that. For those living in the home front, you can find ways of supporting this government. But we know that there's a silent majority we believe there's a silent majority that are clapping, they are applauding us day in, day out. They are praying for us. Continue doing that, because long as God is on the throne, Ambazonia will be free. So without any further ado, we're going to conclude this program today. I want to thank you. And remember, for tomorrow, that is supposed to be International Women's Day. Please, mothers, when you think about Mommy Appy, you think about baby Caroles, baby Brandy, Sam Sawyer, all those that have gone ahead, all the massacres. Stay home and don't celebrate a day that does nothing for you. Thank you so much for being on the horizon, the voice of the Amber Woman. Bye for now.
Mama Amba, with your love for us, we can assure Ambazonia is free. Today on Mother's Day, we shine a heartfelt spotlight on the mothers of Ambazonia, whose spirits in the face of unimaginable trials remain unbroken and fiercely radiant. Each Ambazonian mother stands as a testament to resilience, nurturing life and hope in a landscape marred by turmoil and the harshness perpetrated by French Cameroons' brutality. Their pain is deep, having shed blood and tears for their beloved land and lost children. Yet in their profound grief, they have not buried their beliefs in freedom and justice, but have instead sown these values even deeper in the soul of Ambazonia. Their love, boundless, their courage, immeasurable. These remarkable women have faced the darkness, yet they continue to embody the light, remaining fruitful amidst adversity. They labor tirelessly, not just in the fields of their cherished land, but in the heart of their communities, nurturing the next generation with the strength and wisdom of warriors and peacekeepers. Their hands, though weathered by hardship, are the same hands that cradle the future, that plant seeds of hope and sustain the spirit of independence that defines Ambazonia. Today, we honor the Ambazonian mothers who, in the silence of their sacrifices and the loudness of their battles, show us what it truly means to fight for the essence of home and freedom. To every mother who has picked up the metaphorical weapons of resilience, love, and unyielding faith in the face of adversity, your valor inspires us. You do not fight alone. Your dreams for a peaceful, independent Ambazonia echo in the hearts of many around the world. On this Mother's Day, we celebrate you, Ambazonian mothers, not just as the hearts of your homes, but as the undying heartbeat of a nation striving for its rightful place under the sun. Your resilience sketches the blueprint for Ambazonia's tomorrow. May your tears of yesterday water the seeds of tomorrow's freedom, peace, and prosperity. Happy Mother's Day to the unwavering, formidable mothers of Ambazonia. Your strength lights our path to a brighter future. Mama Amba, with your love for us, we can assure Ambazonia is free. Mama Amba, with your love for us, we can assure Ambazonia is free. Today on Mother's Day, we shine a heartfelt spotlight on the mothers of Ambazonia, whose spirits in the face of unimaginable trials remain unbroken and fiercely radiant. Each Ambazonian mother stands as a testament to resilience, nurturing life and hope in a landscape marred by turmoil and the harshness perpetrated by French